Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or sirs, if you prefer to be called such things. Now, I am going to be particularly British in this iteration of my videos because, well, this is an incredibly British game. You'll see what I mean by that when we start playing it. Now, this is an early access game. It came out quite a while ago, by which I mean a few months, maybe a couple of months ago. And it's recently had an update. I didn't do any coverage of it at that time because, well, I was streaming it rather than making content for my YouTube channel. That makes no difference, however. In fact, I need to turn that volume down so I can actually hear myself talking to you. That's always a plus. So let us create a new world. I'm just going to randomize those there like this and go build. And the game should start loading. Now, it should emphasize most of the plot points for you. By which I mean there isn't too much of a plot. Basically, it is a survival horror-ish, spooky game, if you will, in that you are stranded, and as you might have guessed, you are being hunted. And yes, I am trying to be as British as possible, as I have already mentioned. So, you are on a group of islands, and you have to find pieces of a machine in order to get you back to your laboratory where an experiment went wrong in the first place, landing you in it, shall we say. And that is pretty much my introduction to this until we actually start playing, so I hope the loading screen actually hurries up a little bit, because it might be a little bit better if it does. I decided to webcam this one because I realised I haven't done any webcamming in a while on my channel, and I just wanted to say also, for those who watch my Planetary Annihilation...
If you can hear this, then the experiment has gone terribly wrong. I fear you may be trapped on the archipelago, but don't panic. The standing stones should be nearby. With them, and some luck, you may still be able to escape. Listen very carefully, and you might just survive. I am afraid pieces of the device are now scattered across the islands. They became quite hot during the experiment, so perhaps you could look for the smoke. Bring any you find back to the standing stones. Then we should be able to get you home. I'm dreadfully sorry, sir, but this does mean postponing dinner preparations. I do hope you remember to eat something. You must try to keep your strength up. Perhaps some tea and biscuits from one of the nearby houses? The residents won't mind because they're not at home. Oh, and do be careful, sir. You're being hunted.
And as awkward as that attempted mime was... Anyway. So, as you mentioned there, you are being hunted. You have to find these pieces of a time machine thingy. Is it a time machine or is it a spaceship? Or is it some form of experiment? That is up to you to decide. What the... What? That's an... Goodness gracious me, that is nowhere near fair at all. I think that is a little bit of a bug in the game. As I said, it is a little bit of an early access game. And I will have to... I will be spawn killed. That's never happened before. Okay, let's be ready to run then. Run! Goodness gracious me, ladies and gentlemen, this is rather unorthodox. I do apologize. I do, however, have to strafe. And this has never happened to me in this game before. I'm having to run for my life as soon as I am put in. Maybe it's because the standing stones are so bloody close to the bloomin' houses. Goodness gracious me. Right, now that I am rather concealed, shall we say, I'll just say very briefly before we sort of really get into the thick of this, that those who watch my planetary annihilation videos, those are coming. Those who watch my amnesia videos, those are coming too. I do have limited time, however, and limited internet, shall we say, in that it is rather slow, and so actually managing to get a planetary annihilation game which has relatively little lag is quite difficult. Plus it's in beta, so it tends to crash out and lose connection quite a lot anyway, but beta will be beta. Now, this game, as you've already seen, I have been killed by robots. These are those which hunt you. As you can probably hear, they're still looking for me, because they saw me in that near sort of that area over there, and so they will go and look over there to see if they can find me or any trace of me. Because they can't, or hopefully they can't, they will give up and go back to wherever their patrol pattern was before. Now, on this screen you will see various things. At the top you will see a compass. This leads you to your standing stones or your boats. Now your boats take you in between your islands and act as save points, and your standing stone acts as a save point and also where you put the pieces of your machine. Other than that, you see your retina thingy, aim pointer, I can't remember what it's called, crosshair. No bloody way! Oh, got the wrong way. Ah! Nope, 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 nope. That is rather... This is ridiculous. This has never happened to me before on this game. I was hoping for a rather leisurely tutorial for you. However, this is rather not the case, and I must hasten to apologize yet again for such poor quality content. But as I flee for my life, I will explain things to you. Get over the thorn bush. Right, now here, I do not see anyone. I don't expect to see anyone. So, now that we have a little bit of time, I can explain a couple of other things. You can have a visibility meter, which I hope you realize has been changing depending on how you move and how you choose yourself. So as I stand up and walk, I have really high visibility. If I run, it is ridiculously loud. If I crouch and stop moving, there is no visibility whatsoever. And it depends, of course, where I stop moving as to whether I remain visible or not. Here I am not in grass, so I still have a point of visibility. Here I am in grass, so my visibility is incredibly low, and they would have to be standing reasonably close in order to see me. Just having a quick listen to make sure there aren't any around. Now you also see a health and vitality meter. Obviously, the higher your vitality is, the better your health generation. And if your vitality is incredibly low, you will inevitably lose health. Now, you can lose health by being shot, by being bitten, by bleeding to death, or by losing vitality. I'm not sure if you can drown. Might be an implemented mechanic by now, I'm not entirely sure. Now, you also have ammo and rounds, that is for when you find weapons, and your current item. Now that I actually have a chance to loot a building, you walk up to a building door and you may loot it and have
looks like
a look
there's something
inside.
useful in there. Oh, and if you find anything edible, don't look at it too closely.
So you see there are a rather large number of pieces we need. This is my inventory, so obviously you need to arrange it into a way that will actually encompass everything in the best way possible. You can also see slots down this side of the screen. These are your inventory, active inventory items. So if I go back to the standing stones, I will be able to pick up binoculars and hopefully a piece as well to get me started. But of course those are being somewhat cat-guarded by our pursuers, so that is not really an option. But of course when they're in those slots you can quickly... This is phenomenal! They are really hunting me down today. Uh-oh, that's not good. Running in the opposite direction. This has never been so... I think there's a slight glitch in this, because normally this doesn't happen and they are not quite so vigorous in following you. Please have some form of useful item. Blackberries? Those may be useful. Blight-ridden spuds. An apple. Now, some foods, in fact most foods, will lower your vitality because they are rotten. Only some are actually good for your vitality. There are drinks, like tea, like whiskey, that you can drink. Now, the bottled drinks, you can use... You can use the empty bottles to throw and make a smashing distraction, which will lead them either to where you want them to go or away from where you need to be. Especially if you've set up something like a bear trap, you can smash an item there and it leads them straight into the bear trap, and they're not particularly the most intelligent of things and they will just walk straight into it. Oh, that wasn't good. A box of mothballs? I don't need a box of mothballs. As you can see... Oh, fish and chips. Gosh, that is very British. I'm not entirely sure whether I should take this cheese and the fish and chips. But for now, why not? Okay, we'll take the pickled onions too. Now you can see in the distance there is a hot air balloon. These things are really quite awkward if you get spotted by them, because they are rather difficult to be unspotted by. Now there you saw me pick up some ammunition. That is for a revolver, which you can find. You can also find shotguns and or hunting rifles. A bag of mints, I'll take one of those as well. And there are various other things in the game to act as distractions or weapons. There's there's a new train set which you can lay down and it'll make a heck of a noise. I want to get my blooming binoculars. Goodness gracious me. Such an unorthodox opening leads to such unorthodox content. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Especially for those of you who know and play So You Are Being Hunted, will probably understand quite why I'm rather bewildered, shall we say, at this stage of the game. Now, I don't want to be too obvious around the hot air balloon because it will pursue me, as will those dudes over there. He probably already noticed me. No, he hasn't. He's walking the other way. The hot air balloon looks as though it might be moving this way. But I need to get on the other side in order to get to the standing stones, or at least in order to get to them safely. I do apologise for... They're still catguarding it. Twice in one day I find myself in a bewilderment. Ha, that quote. No, I can't sneak up on that. I'm going to have to find some other way. I can't go to that manor house. That's being cat-guarded up the yin-yang. I've just come from there, so I'm going to have to find other methods of doing things. At least I cannot get back to the standing stones until I have substantial armaments. Hello. Patriotic crockery. I think that would make a good smash, don't you? I certainly do. Let's have a look around. I want to find useful item. There, you see. There is a useful item. You have a torch, which I can now drag into this slot. I believe. No, maybe not. Some items can go in there, some cannot. Now, bandages are useful for stopping bleed. If you are bleeding out, you apply a bandage and you will stop bleeding out. Matches are for using in fires to cook food. So raw game, for instance, is cookable, but not immediately edible, otherwise it lowers your vitality. there's all sorts of things. You'll see the pliers there. Those are for picking up bear traps. If you ever find yourself using them, which you may do, which you may not do. It's it's a randomly generated world. Though how random are strings of numbers and code? That remains to be seen. Now let me use my torch and show you. Look at that. It helps in nighttime navigation. Now, however, the downside to it. Look right down here. You can see the visibility has gone off the scale. And then I turn it off. And I am barely visible once more. I am like a ninja. That is obvious. Just look in here. Aha! A weapon. That's a good start.
A weapon? Do be careful with that. I really think violence is best left to the experts.
I will put that in my active slots so that I can quickly cycle to it should I need to. Now here you can see an example of a place for cooking food.
I know you're not used to preparing your own meals, sir, but I'm sure you can master roasting game on an open fire. That smoke can be seen for miles, however, so do be quick.
In other words, if you decide to cook something, eat it quickly and leg it. Because they will be on your rear end faster than you can say, I'd like to take time to eat dinner, please. And yes, that is quite a substantial time differential. But there we go. They don't descend on you like a ton of bricks, shall we say, but they are certainly don't waste any time in heading towards the smoke. I've already been to this place, haven't I? No, because there's biscuits there. I would have looted those already and beforehand. So that is obviously different. I am going to go over to this manor house now. You see the smoke here implies there is a piece for me to find. Now these pieces vary in size. Some are single piece inventory, some are massive piece inventory.
You've found
Gadzooks!
Return that
A fragment.
standing stones and leave it there. You'll be one step closer to home.
Here you see this is probably one of the largest ones you will find, and it takes up a substantial amount of your inventory. Now the good thing is, these houses things, they don't lose what they have in them. So if you find yourself spawning next to one, I'm going to take a pipe and tobacco because that is just so British. If you find yourself spawning next to them or can make a good landmark point out of them, you can store items in there for later use. I heard a robot. Ah, there he is. If I had binoculars, I'd be able to see. So I don't want to go over there just yet. I want to head away from there. Ideally, I would like to go back to the standing stones. But they are likely still being guarded, so maybe not such a brilliant idea. Alas, I am genuinely perturbed in that this hasn't gone entirely according to plan. What I will do, though, is follow this up with another video. Nasty weed killer. Interesting. Haven't seen that before. As obvious, there's a lot of content in this update, and I see dudes over there. So I'm not happy about it. I need a gun. It looks like I've looted all of these buildings already. But that doesn't mean I can't have another look. Because you never know what you've missed. And if you miss it, it's too late, obviously. But yes, I really need to find a weapon, or at least get back to the standing stones. I mean, I have this weapon, yes, but they have guns. This is like, you know, incredibly disadvantageous. Incredibly disadvantageous. And I do apologise, I'm fighting off a cold at the moment, so if I sound rather bunged up or whatever, that's just the reason why. It is because... Oh, I should have gone back under the cover of darkness, should I not? Oh, I am a mediocre muppet at best. Let's see. Wonder if I can find something over here of value. Oh no, I've been here, haven't I? Yes. Oh, there's a stone. You can throw those, by the way. Yeah. Oh, you can't use those? It's rather silly. Is weed killer a usable item? I guess not. So some of these items are just filler items for hilarity. And, you know, for first-time players, they do the job. I see some dudes over there, but because I don't have binoculars, Mr. Game, I cannot really monitor their progress very effectively at all. Main question I put to you, if you've worked this far in the video, maybe you can mention it in your comment if you make a comment. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Please make a comment and or like the video. Why would a British person go out of their way to be undecidedly British? And in fact, what I'm going to do very briefly is open my inventory and eat some biscuits because my vitality is incredibly low. I want to eat some more biscuits. And some more biscuits and some more biscuits. I wonder whether the fish and chips increases my vitality. That's good stuff to know. There's still one dude there and dudes over there. So let me see if I can lure him over here. Pooh. Oh, there's two of them. That was something of a miscalculation. Well, in that case, in order to save, I must go to a boat. I ran rather the wrong way, I believe. Into... well... 3 people. How silly of me. There's a hot air balloon over there. I'm now being pursued by probably about 5 gentlemen. Where is a boat? I don't see any on my reticule compass thingy. I think maybe it's slightly bugged out. Have you seen a boat on there yet? This is rather odd. But in order to save the game, I must find a boat. I will just head due east until I find the boat to the east continent. Because they're usually at the pinpoint of the compass. There is one, look. That way is closer than that way, so I will go this way instead and find a suitable place to save. Because of course if they are cat guarding my standing stones in such a disorderly, discourteous and quite frankly obtrusive manner, then I have but no option other than to leg it to a different point of save. Yes, good thing. I can actually get there. So here is your boat to a continent. Whichever continent, I do not know. It might be wise to keep a track of your progress over the continents because you don't want to get to the point of just going backwards and forwards across continents and never managing to find the centre continent because the standing stones are only in the centre continent. Hopefully next time we can find a weapon and actually get showing off some game mechanics.
There are a number of islands in the archipelago. Each of them is likely to have fragments of the device for you to collect. Try not to get lost.
Each of them do have fragments to collect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save progress. I'm going to say, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to drop a like or a comment and subscribe for much more. And those who watch Planetary Annihilation and my other videos, they are on their way. Sit tight. Thank you for your support and your patience. Goodbye.